Welcome back. Today we dive into the dark and eerie world of pit stops. Buckle up, because these stories are not for the faint of heart. We're talking about those liminal spaces on the fringes of our highways, those dimly lit rest stops, and desolate gas stations where anyone or anything could be lurking. Tonight, we explore 3 terrifying encounters from those who dared to stop in the night. Get ready to grip your armrests as we unravel the mysteries and the mayhem that can unfold when you least expect it. Our first story takes us to the lonely backroads of Nebraska, where a seasoned trucker named Frank found himself facing an unsettling encounter. Picture this. It's 3 a.m., the dead of night. Frank, hauling a load of produce, is fighting fatigue as he navigates a seemingly endless stretch of highway. His headlights cut through the darkness, revealing nothing but cornfields stretching as far as the eye can see. After hours on the road, Frank's eyelids are getting heavy. He knows he needs a break, a chance to stretch his legs and clear his head. He sees a sign for a rest stop coming up, a small, deserted-looking place with just a few picnic tables and flickering fluorescent lights. He pulls his rig into the empty lot, the engine's roar suddenly deafening in the stillness. As he climbs out of the cab, a shiver runs down his spine. The air is thick with humidity, and an unsettling silence hangs over the place. Frank stretches, his joints popping, and then he heads towards the restrooms, his boots crunching on the gravel. As he's washing his hands, he hears it, a faint rustling sound coming from the cornfield across the parking lot. Frank pauses, water dripping from his hands, straining to listen. The rustling continues, soft but persistent. He tells himself it's just the wind, but something about it doesn't sit right. Drying his hands, he glances nervously at the field. The corn stalks seem to sway and whisper even though there's no breeze. He steps out of the restroom, his gut telling him to get back in his truck and drive. But just as he turns, he sees it in the distance, between the rows of corn, a figure standing perfectly still, almost swallowed by the darkness. Frank freezes, his heart pounding in his chest. He can't make out any features, just a tall, slender silhouette. He stares, unblinking, trying to make sense of what he's seeing. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, the figure is gone. Frank doesn't hesitate. He practically runs back to his truck, adrenaline coursing through him. He jumps into the cab, slams the door and locks it, his hands trembling. As he pulls out of the rest stop and back onto the highway, he can't shake the feeling that he was being watched, that whatever was out there in the cornfield was toying with him. Even now, miles down the road, he can't help but glance at the cornfields as they whiz by, wondering what he really saw that night and if it was truly alone. Our next story takes us to the desolate plains of West Texas, where a family road trip takes a terrifying turn. Imagine. A young couple, Mark and Sarah, are driving through the night with their 2 young children, Emily and Ethan. They're on their way to visit family, the endless highway illuminated only by their headlights and the occasional passing truck. The kids are fast asleep in the back seat and Mark is struggling to keep his eyes open at the wheel. They're running low on gas and the miles seem to stretch on forever. Just when their hope is dwindling, they spot it. A beacon in the darkness, a lone gas station bathed in the eerie glow of flickering fluorescent lights. Relief washes over Mark as he steers the car towards the pumps. But as they get closer, a sense of unease creeps in. The gas station is dilapidated, paint peeling, windows boarded up. The pumps look ancient, and the whole place has an air of neglect, of being forgotten by time. Still, they need gas, so Mark parks the car, and Sarah wakes the kids, who are grumpy and disoriented. As Mark pumps the gas, he can't shake the feeling that something is off. The silence is unnerving, broken only by the whirring of the pump and the distant howl of what sounds like a coyote. He glances around, noticing security cameras mounted at odd angles, their lenses seemingly watching his every move. He finishes fueling up and goes to pay, but the door to the gas station is locked. He peers through the grimy window, but it's too dark to see inside. There's no one in sight, no cars, no signs of life. As he returns to the car, he notices something strange. A child's toy, a worn teddy bear, lying in the middle of the empty parking lot. Where did it come from? There's no way they could have missed it when they pulled in. Suddenly, Emily points to the window of the gas station and cries out, "Mommy, look! A man!" Mark and Sarah turn to see a face appear in the window, a pale, gaunt face with dark, hollow eyes staring directly at them. Terror grips them as they realize they're not alone. Mark fumbles with the car keys, his heart pounding in his ears. He manages to unlock the car, throws the kids in the back seat and jumps behind the wheel. As he throws the car into reverse, he sees the figure move towards them, its form blurry against the grimy window. He slams his foot on the accelerator and speeds away, tires spitting gravel. They don't stop driving until they reach the next town, their hearts still racing. As they try to make sense of what they saw, one thing is clear: they narrowly escaped something sinister at that abandoned gas station. Chapter 3. Don't Look Back. Our final story takes us deep into the heart of the Arizona desert, where a solo traveler learns a chilling lesson about trusting her instincts. Picture this. A young woman named Jessica is driving across the country, chasing the open road and a fresh start. She's been on the road for days, her only company the music on her radio and the vast, unforgiving landscape. Nightfall is approaching, and exhaustion is setting in. She sees a sign for a rest area, just a small dirt turnout with a single flickering light post. She hesitates, her gut telling her to keep driving. There's something about the isolation of the place that makes her uneasy, but she's tired and she needs to stretch her legs. She convinces herself it's just her imagination, that she's letting the loneliness get to her. She pulls off the highway and into the deserted rest area. As she steps out of her car, the silence is deafening. The air is still and heavy, and the only sound is the beating of her own heart. She walks to the edge of the turnout, gazing out at the endless expanse of desert stretching before her, the setting sun casting an eerie orange glow on the horizon. As she turns to go back to her car, she notices something out of the corner of her eye, a glint of metal reflecting the fading light. She stops, her pulse quickening. There, partially hidden in the scrub brush, is a discarded beer can. And next to it, another one, and another. She realizes with a growing sense of dread that this is no ordinary rest stop. Someone has been here, and they've left behind more than just trash. She scans the area, her heart pounding in her chest. She sees a cluster of rocks arranged in a strange pattern, almost like a makeshift altar. Suddenly she hears a twig snap behind her. She whirls around, her breath catching in her throat. There's nothing there, but she could have sworn she heard something, felt a presence. She hurries back to her car, her hand trembling as she fumbles with her keys. She unlocks the door, throws herself into the driver's seat, and slams the door behind her, locking it with a resounding click. As she throws the car into gear and speeds away, she can't shake the feeling that she's not alone, that someone, or something, is watching her, its eyes burning into her back. She doesn't slow down until she reaches a well-lit gas station miles down the road, her heart still racing. From that night on, Jessica trusts her gut, knowing that sometimes the loneliest places are the most dangerous, and the open road can lead to more than just adventure. Remember, the next time you pull over for a quick break, you might not be as alone as you think. Stay safe out there, and until next time, keep your eyes open and your doors locked. The open road can be a beautiful and freeing place, but it can also be unpredictable and dangerous. Trust your instincts, be aware of your surroundings, and never stop listening to that little voice inside your head that tells you when something isn't quite right. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring the strange and mysterious world around us.